Hey folks, it's Michelle and Nat here from Bel Air Farm. We're coming to you from our new barn, and we wanted to give you our annual update number 1 for the 2023 season. In this update, we talked about business and administrative changes and summaries from last year. And one of those topics was organic certification. And so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about why we decided we're dropping our organic certification going forward. And maybe Nat can share a little bit about some of the things that we're thinking about as we're making that decision.
One of the really big things is we use a couple different types of mulch on the farm for weed control. One of them is a plastic product, and one of them is a biodegradable product made out of cornstarch. And I actually have an example of those two here. So this here is the biodegradable product. It is not organic certified, and you are required to pull it out of the field to maintain a certification. And this is kind of how it breaks apart. You can tell it just really has a much different consistency than the plastic here, which is like truly plastic, really is a petroleum product. It does pull well out of the fields, but it does end up in the landfill, and there's a lot of labor involved in pulling this. This product here is going to biodegrade in the middle of the season or right after the season, and it's going to just go back into the soil, and we don't actually have to pull it. Our organic certifier requires that we pull it, which is a bit of a sham because you really can't pull this out once you lay it down. It just falls apart. There is no pulling it. It just completely is disintegrated. And this has actually been in a barn stored out of the light. So this is in really good shape. Once it gets out into the field and the sunlight hits it, it just shatters. There is no chance you're getting it out. For us to lay something down that is a natural product made out of corn that is going to just go into the soil and disappear the next season feels a lot better than a petroleum product that's going to stay on the earth forever. And we would, on our scale growing, we would have several dumpsters filled with this by the time we're done. So we're really moving away from this. This next year we're going to grow entirely on this biodegradable product and not be doing any of this. And that to us just is a clear way forward, but part of that is going to be dropping the organic certification.
And so about this product in particular, it's made from corn. We don't 100% know the other ingredients. Yes, we are relying on these companies, but I linked to a couple of them in the annual update on the blog form, so you can check out their websites for yourself. Most of them say that this breaks down into CO2 and water. That's the components that it's turning into in the end, whereas this just stays like this forever in a landfill somewhere. And then the other component about the organic cert is the admin and just the filing labor. So that has just been a lot of work and a lot of expense. It's about $3,000 all told between everything we have to put into it. And that's another reason, besides the labor and the material reasons. And finally, this doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of this conversation. We're looking into other certifiers like Certified Naturally Grown, which is a more peer-based certification. Other farms are inspecting you, you're inspecting other farms. They allow the biodegradable plastic without removal. And the expense is a lot less. So something we're going to look into. But for now, we're dropping our organic cert effective immediately.
And I think the biggest thing with this conversation is that there is not a single growing practice that will change for us. We still are not going to be using chemical pesticides. We're not going to be using chemical fertilizers. We're still committed to really heavily cover cropping, and are going to maintain the relationship with the land here that we have been maintaining, and continue to improve on that. This is just really to give us more flexibility with this biodegradable product, and also all that administration on Michelle's end is just not very much fun at all, and is kind of a bit of a dredge. So we just want to enjoy our jobs, and that's not a part of something we enjoy. So.
Yeah. If you had, we had one customer question on this topic that I'd like to address, and that was that they found us on the Real Organic Certified page. They were like, "What is that? Are you Real Organic Certified? What's the difference between that and USDA Organic?" Yes, we used to be Real Organic Certified. That is basically taking USDA Organic and going one step further and saying you're a soil-based farm, you're not like aquaponics, you're not like hydroponic, you're not like vertical growing, you are an earth-based system, and that has a peer review component and was very affordable, but in order to qualify for that, you have to be USDA Organic, and since we no longer are Real Organic Certified either. So that's that question answered. And if you guys have any other questions, shoot them to us, and we're happy to talk. This whole conversation is done in the interest of like transparency with our customer base, and so we're totally happy to discuss any topic. The next thing in our annual update was our labor review. So we shared that last year we started the H2A program for the first time, and that we are rethinking labor and attempting to build a team of professionals and try to get people returning, increase retention on the farm, increase wages, which, as you know, globally and nationally are rising. I wonder if Nat wants to talk a little about H2A and how that worked out.
Yeah, last year was the first time we had 4 folks up from Veracruz, Mexico. They had actually already had some relationships in the area through vineyards, so some of them have some family here and friends. They all grew up in the same area and know each other. So we brought those 4 folks up, and it was really incredible to have 4 people who are just completely dedicated to being on the farm and to improving all of our systems here. They're just very reliable individuals. Knowing that we can continue to train and put resources into them, and that they're interested in coming back, is so huge for us. It's so difficult to have folks that might be, just wanting to work on a farm for a year or 2 before they get into a job that is going to be more of their lifelong career, and to be kind of going through that cycle every year or 2. And we still are hiring a huge variety of local workers. We actually last year didn't turn down a single qualified applicant. So if we had not pursued that H2A option, we might not have been able to really do any of the things that we do on the farm. And yeah, it's just been really great to work with them, and I'm excited to continue that relationship and continue to hire people locally. I think last year we had 20 people on payroll, so there's 4 folks coming up, and then there's a whole variety of other folks that are still able to work here and still find a lot of meaning from it. And it really just takes that edge off of us, where we're feeling like we just possibly can't find the labor in this area that we do need.
Yeah, and it was really cool, I think, to work on a multicultural crew, to work on a crew with some true diversity. At this point with these guys, we've got people from different countries speaking different languages. We've got the full age range from teenager to 60-year-old person, mid-60s. We've got people from different economic backgrounds, and it feels really good to be working in that kind of environment. At the same time, talking about this without talking about the language barrier would be remiss. So that was a huge challenge, and one that I'm very grateful for, but was a challenge nonetheless. I have gotten myself up to like basic agricultural Spanish. I sound like a dum-dum, but it works, and I'm proud nonetheless. Nat's studying really hard right now, and so we're also looking for local workers that have a little bit more dual language skills, and so we're really kind of like building this really interesting cross-cultural collaborative team here. And just a few numbers, just some metrics are that in 2019, before Nat and I took over, the average wage of a Bel Air farm worker, and this doesn't include other benefits like veggies and eggs, there's lots of other work perks here, but the actual cash take home was $11.27 on average. Now our H2A workers in 2021 or 2022 we're at $14.16, and our local workers were at $15.46 on average. We expect both those numbers to go up. The H2A minimum wage is rising to $14.91, and we're starting out folks at $15 minimum this year. So those numbers are continuing to climb. We're really proud of how far we've come. And all of that without like raising our CSA prices too dramatically.
Yeah, and I think, all around on the farm, we're just dedicated to continuing to push those wages up as we can for ourselves and for the folks that are working here. And it's just sort of like a rolling ball. It's just, you get some momentum and you just keep adding to that. And that's kind of the most exciting thing about all of it is just kind of seeing the changes that you can start implementing both in the growing and with the labor. And
Yeah. And then, so that's labor, and again, happy to answer any questions. And then the last topic that we wanted to share with you is our new building, and here we are. So this story kind of starts with some sad news, which is that 20 Paces, our longtime partner on the farm, they had a sheep dairy for like 8 years, and we're milking here out of this barn, and they have kind of closed their doors for good. That to me is just a lesson in how hard and cutthroat farming can be, and also a lesson in how beautifully you can steward some land. I would just like to call out 20 Paces for being amazing graziers, and the pastures that they have been taking care of on the property are noticeably beautiful and have been improving steadily over the whole time that they've been here. So, gone but not forgotten, we'll say. We're still reaping the benefits of their really wonderful farming practices. And now that they are moving out, this building is available. So this barn is kind of near the gravel entrance drive, and we're right here in the pole barn wing. And so this part has like very high potential for like livestock. And so what have you been like doing in here so far?
Yeah, so we, up until now, we've always kept our hens out on winter pasture, which has been okay. We change our management a little bit to try to mitigate effects on the pasture and to keep the hens comfortable, but it's not ideal for the humans or the birds, or the land. The nitrogen is not going to ever absorb into the soil. It's just going to kind of sit there until spring, which is okay. But the hens are kind of out in the muck, and we're having to, go out there and deal with frozen drinkers and be in the mud ourselves, and it's just like not really anything anyone wants to really be doing, including the hens. So now they're in here for the winter for 3 months.
Yeah, let's get a little closer look at them here.
Go.
I'll go behind the camera and Nat can show us.
So we've got, their house here, and We've got their drinker here, and I've got some heat tape on that so it doesn't freeze quite as often. And they're just in here, you know, we give them fresh straw to bed them down, and to try to keep their manure at an appropriate rate. I think that they're doing really a lot better. This is where I'd rather be, and I can tell you that I enjoy being in here a lot more than being outside in January and February. They are, you know, yeah, and I just think that going forward, this is just going to make a huge difference and allow us to expand our hen numbers, and just have a lower management load in the winter while increasing the benefits of our management.
Yeah.
And we can walk down and look at some other stuff. This is just one part of the barn. I also have put lights up, so that is helpful for winter egg production. Hens will start to really slow down their production in the winter, and if you keep kind of a timed light system on them, they can kind of keep giving eggs out that we can be selling at the markets. This part of the barn is not completely built out yet, but one thing we've been doing here in this wing is loading hogs out for when we take them to the slaughterhouse. This kind of allows me to bring hogs in a day or two before I have a date, and they can just kind of begin here and be comfortable, kind of stress-free for me and the hogs. I don't have to go and like load hogs the very day that they're going, which sometimes hog loading can be a little bit of a question mark. So I bring them in here a day before we're going to take them, and then we just sort of back out the livestock trailer and get them into the trailer, and it's just so much easier. The hogs, it's just a lot more stress-free for all parties. I know that they're in here when the livestock hauler comes. We just back up the trailer and put them on in, and there's no, no negotiation with the hogs. We just it's just a lot better. And then additionally, like if there's really bad weather in the winter, I can bring them in here as well, which is a little extra work on my end, but it just is a really great option to have. There are times in the winter where you might just want to have your livestock inside, and having this flexibility is really huge for us.
Yeah. And we'll be building a chicken brooder in that wing here, and then like the other things about this building are kind of more long term, but you can see, you know, it just continues over here. There's this little like alleyway, and then that green building over there is the former 20 Paces Dairy, and there's a VDOC's inspectable kitchen in there. We're not going to go in there today because they're still getting their stuff out. But eventually we'll be able to utilize that building for cold storage, for lots of other different things. And basically this building is just going to be such an asset here.
We've been probably a little crammed down at the main barn. We're kind of trying to operate that as a CSA pickup, a barn store, a feed storage area, a wash station, a storage for all of our fresh vegetables, all of our stored vegetables,
office, crew area,
a crew area for, I will say, 20 people.
20 people, tool world.
It's just kind of excessive. And so having this space, while it's going to be a really slow build out because of management constraints, and we just really want to not bite off more than we can chew in 1 year, being able to move up here, part of those operations up here is going to be really huge for our long-term success. And then getting that kitchen running in a number of years is going to be really great, just to utilize vegetables that we might just have excess of, do value-added products, and just kind of expand and go from there.
Awesome, y'all. So I think that's pretty much, we'll see if I can do a handheld selfie here. I think that's pretty much all of the annual update for the business and administration side. We'll be putting out more videos about veggie production, livestock, and conservation. So keep your eye out for those, and we really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.